Hi everyone, Aiden here with eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at this ADCO camper cover for 22-foot trailers and seeing how it fits on our 2022 Forest River Salem FSX travel trailer. So for the Salem FSX, there's tons of different options for different covers. The one we have installed right now is the ADCO Olefin HD cover. That's going to be the one that's designed for all climates and give you better UV protection. That material on top is where it gets that olefin name, and that's going to be, again, more targeted towards UV protection, maybe a little less breathable. But again, like I said, there's other options that install the exact same way from ADCO, they're just different materials. So there's going to be the AquaShed option. That's going to be their more breathable material, better for a really humid climate. So depending on where you're storing it and where you're using it, that could be a good option for you. And then there's just the regular cover that's just a basic polypropylene material. That's going to be the lower end option, really kind of thinner material, not as nice, not as heavy duty, so mild climates, but it does offer good breathability, much like the AquaShed. I'd say the AquaShed, again, if you need that breathability, but your climate is not as mild, it's going to be a little bit thicker in some areas, have an extra layer of protection at the top. So you can kind of pick and choose the cover based on your region, but all of them, like I said, will fit this camper the exact same way and install the same way, like we'll check out in a second layer. A cover is a really great option for your camper because it's going to do a number of things. Like I've already mentioned, it protects against UV damage, so areas like the roof that have a tendency to get a lot of sun, maybe start cracking over time and then need replacements, you won't need that as much by covering it up because, again, it's just keeping it protected. In addition to that, things like dirt and debris, it's just going to keep the whole thing clean. You don't have to clean it as much, and it keeps it looking new for longer. So it's helping to elongate the life of your camper. And with it in place, you want to make sure that it stays in place. So if you leave it for the winter and you cover it up, you want to know that it's not going anywhere, even in windy conditions. And there's tons of different places around the cover that all cinch down and get a nice tight fit on the camper. The front end here is a little bit goofy, or at least it looks a little goofy, just because the front end of your camper slopes down quite a bit. But even with that, we're still getting a nice tight pull across these front straps, and all the straps underneath keep it really tight. And you can see it pulling up here. I'm not able to get it to budge really. So even if wind were to maybe catch under these looser parts near the front of our trailer, it shouldn't cause anything to move. Moving down the sides of our camper, this is where things start to get a much tighter fit. You can see, again, pulling up right here, we're not really getting much movement because the straps that run underneath the camper are keeping everything held under that corner. At the top sides of the cover, we can see periodically throughout there's these vent locations placed, so you're not going to have anything like a lack of airflow. It'll keep things inside nice and mildew free, and just overall leave a less musty smell whenever you do uncover it. And the backside is where I think the fit on this camper is really ideal. You can see it's fitting all the corners perfectly, it's wrapping underneath, it doesn't interfere with our bumper at all, and up top it's fitting perfectly over there as well. But that's kind of to be expected of the more rectangular shape back here. At the very top corners you can see some pieces that are jutting out. That's where our rain gutters are. And there's layers of protection there to make sure that it doesn't rip the cover as easily and just gives it, again, more protection. We'll see that later in the install process. On this side of the camper where your door is, the cover has a zippered patch. So undo the 3 buckles underneath that hold this section in place, and then you've got a zipper on both sides that can be run up, and then one near the front of the camper. And this will open up this whole section of the cover where there's a little bit of hook and loop holding it in place too. But we could roll this up, get it secured, and have access to our door. So if we needed to do anything inside the camper, maybe get some things ready, but we're not quite ready to take the cover off yet, we can do that. And then when we're done, we can just zip it right back up, re-secure the hook and loop, and then buckle everything back up underneath. Again, 3 buckle locations in total, 1 by each of these zippers and 1 in the middle of the section here that rolls up. So overall, I think it's going to be a functionally pretty good cover. Having the access to the door on the side is a big deal for me because you never know when you might need to get in the camper, and it's going to be a big hassle to get the whole thing taken off if you're not ready to take it off yet. One thing to keep in mind with this cover, and really any cover, is that they are, I don't want to say fragile, but they are susceptible to tearing. The material isn't super thick because it's made to be breathable at the end. So any sort of sharp corners around your camper, any hard edges, you do run the risk of maybe damaging it. So just keep that in mind when you're putting it on, and as long as you're careful during the installation and uninstallation process, I think this could last a long time. Speaking of that installation process, let's check it out together now. The first thing you want to do for your installation process is just get some things prepped on your camper before you put the cover over it. Your kit is going to come with 4 of these covers for the rain gutters. It's essentially just a piece of pool noodle inside the cover material with some drawstrings. So pop that onto the gutters as far as you can, and just take the drawstrings, pull them to tighten it, and I like to just twist it around and just tie a simple knot, nothing crazy, just like we're starting a shoelace, just to help hold it in place. This is really just to prevent any hard edges from poking up and catching on the cover and ripping it. Once we get the cover up here though, we are going to want to be careful because that material isn't super strong, and anything else around our camper, like a hard corner here, could catch it still. So be careful with it, do the protective things that you can, and then get your cover. You can then roll out your cover, and we're just going to kind of peel it open a little bit and try to find something to designate what side is what. So once we've located one of these printouts, we can see it says rear, and that's going to let us know that this is the back side of the camper, and also lets us know that this is the outside that faces away. And then if we pull this up a little bit more, this white part here, you can see it just kind of connects in one continuous piece. This will be the roof material right here. So that helps give us a frame of reference of how this is all going to fit. At this point, it's probably going to be a good idea to grab a friend and help you get it up in place. If you want to unroll it the rest of the way and kind of drape it over, you can do that, or you can get up on the roof and kind of roll it out that way. As far as getting the cover over top the camper, all we really did was roll it up, get it set on top of the roof where I knew the rear was by the rear of the camper, unrolled it towards the front, and then with an extra set of hands, just kind of casually draped it over the sides and the front and the back, making sure that everything was getting untangled. But once everything was rolled out, most of it just kind of fell into place naturally as it went over the sides of the roof. Now with the cover in place, we can do some of our side straps and the underneath straps. The side straps here at each corner, we're gonna have this set of buckles, and basically they'll just go clip into each other, and this will be kind of tucked underneath the corner of the camper. So this one I'm doing right now is kind of hard to see, but this one should be totally visible, where we take the buckles, bring them together over here, and pull it tight. You can see right here as that draws up, that's going to just really cinch this underneath the corner. Now I already did the front side. You can repeat this at the back and the front for all 4 corners. But the front side's a little awkward just because of the general shape of the camper. It's rounded, so you don't get as good of a grip up there. The underneath straps are gonna probably do a better job of keeping that in place, but do it anyway just to cinch things down a little bit where they can. We're also gonna have these corner straps at the top. We then have these straps on the back side that will run across the camper. So one end, it's the same thing where we've got the male end of the buckle. That will go over here to the female end of the buckle. Making sure to keep the strap straight as we do this, buckle it in and pull it tight. We've got one right here and one directly above it. So with just this done, you can see already we're getting a really nice fit. The top corners here, you can see it's tucking underneath the gutters, and that's why we put those gutter protectors in place right there, because that would be a spot where we could maybe see extra wear and tear. Underneath, we've got this wrapping around the corners of the camper as well. And you can see we've chosen to not go over the bumper and the spare tire. There's really no need for that. Up front, we did go over the propane tank just because of the way it fit. but you don't have to if your camper's set up a little bit differently. The next straps will be underneath the camper, and these will come all rubber banded together. Just toss them to the other side. Once those are tossed over, buckle them in and pull them tight, just like we've been doing, and repeat that going down the entire length of the camper. Once all the straps are in place, I just like to do a walk around the camper, make sure that everything is sitting as it should. All of these points where the straps are, things are kind of tucked underneath the bottom of the camper, just to make sure everything's making good contact and we don't have any spots where wind can easily catch and start to billow the cover out too much. I'd say overall, it's working out really well. This is a really good fit on our camper, and it was pretty easy to get set up. The fact that the rig didn't have a ladder on it did make things a little bit awkward, but really, we didn't need the ladder on the back because we just took our ladder around the sides. It's just something to keep in mind whenever you are putting a cover on this, that you'll need to have your own ladder, something to just work around the sides of the camper here, and probably an extra set of hands to help get it installed and make sure that things roll out evenly. But other than that, it was really straightforward, and it's a solid fit on our 2022 Forest River Salem FSX travel trailer. Thanks for watching.